Welcome to.
Wow, that sounded cool.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. Mine did a little where.
Welcome to SIC Sips with Peter and me,
Sid Martinez.
Well, Peter, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we want to dive into kind of something that Sonic offers and give you guys an idea of like why we talk about the stuff, why we're so passionate about it. So, our one of our favorite offerings is the Lifecycle Asset Management Program, and it's generally speaking a holistic approach to your fire sprinkler systems. It's looking at key areas and trying to identify either issues of corrosion that are current or things that might lead to corrosion. So talk to us more about that, Sid.
So, what I want to focus on is really the educating about lifecycle asset management, right? Because right now, your average approach to a fire sprinkler system is what we had talked about a few weeks ago, which is you're focusing on reactive maintenance, proactive maintenance, or I guess what was that? Life cycle asset management?
Yeah.
Or what?
Predictive
maintenance.
Yeah.
So, but what I wanted to focus on the Sonic way of a life cycle asset management is the focus is to ensure the effective asset investment decision making to achieve long-term sustainable results for your fire sprinkler systems. And so lifecycle asset management should not be you do this once and then you're done. It's the focus of that is to find the baseline of the system and then start working towards maintaining that in that way. And so when Peter's speaking about a holistic approach, it's that focus is on effective management. If we don't have the analytics to effectively manage a fire sprinkler system, how are we going to do it? And that's where a guided wave, which we had talked about a few weeks ago too, comes into play, because now if we have the data, right, to effectively manage them, now we can have effective solutions implemented.
Well, and I think what's important about like life cycle asset management, or however you approach your fire sprinkler system, is we know that these things tend to degrade over time. Currently, we talked this a little while ago too, that they degrade at a rate of like, even a wet system lasts about 15 to 25 years
before significant corrosion issues.
Yeah, exactly. Before different forms of significant corrosion happen. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of folks expect a 40 to 50 year lifespan out of their building and their sprinkler system. They're not getting that. It's even worse for dry systems. They're more like 8 to 12 years. And so if you wait for things to break, obviously they're just going to break. And everyone knows that's the most expensive way to run your system. Well, it doesn't get better than that.
Because it's, today the practice is it's just waiting. It's just waiting. Every person you talk out there that would deal within corrosion or as a fire contractor, there's no way to get ahead right now. No way. And that's why what Sonic is wanting to bring and educate about is how can we get ahead of the corrosion? What if we were to identify corrosion before it became a big issue? How
and the industry has been held back from that because it's just so logistically difficult to get that data in a traditional sense. Well, outside of Sonic, basically what we end up seeing a lot is they'll install a system and they'll do their the pressure checks, your quarterlies, your annuals, things like that. But none of those things actually look at the integrity of the sprinkler pipe. All of that is based on
the
function of the system, which is important, a very important part of your system. But so far, the only thing that exists to check for the actual integrity of the pipe due to corrosion, which is the most common thing that you're taking like systems out of service for, is it's the 5-year, which we'll dive into later on, a whole series on that probably. But it's like getting a C grade in school. It's really just like here's your minimal compliance that says, hey, I'm kind of doing something to help make sure I know where my system's at.
So a life cycle asset management program's goal should be assessing your entire building. How many? If it's 10 systems, it's assessing the 10 systems, and then identifying if there are systems of concern, saying, hey, these 3 systems out of your 10 systems, there's corrosion there. We either need to do more in-depth analysis. We need to talk about optimizing those systems, and then finally, it's how do we maximize OPEX and CAPEX dollars for that? Because not everybody's going to have a budget just to keep replacing systems. I don't believe systems should just be replaced.
Right.
I think that is the old way of thinking, and there's got to be a more surgical way to manage these things.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead.
There's not a one definitive study out there yet, but what more and more companies like Sonic are discovering is that when corrosion exists in a system, the temptation is to think, oh my gosh, my whole system is bad. It's been 15 or 20 years. I got to replace it. The reality that we have seen in our own company and other people have attested to as well is typically anywhere from 10 to 20% of your system may actually be compromised beyond repair,
so,
and it's got to be replaced.
So then we're looking at 80 to 90% of your system is still viable.
Perfect working order.
Perfect, fine. Don't replace it. Don't put it into the...
That steel should stay there.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest option for you. It's the best option for the environment because you don't have that steel to go to a landfill or go to, like maybe someone recycles it, hopefully. But it's just it's unnecessary, and all the transport. It's a whole mess. Yeah. In a world that's focusing on every way we can optimize for a greener environment, like this is a great option.
Yeah. And even if you're not about the earth, like it just makes sense. Like I like to be that blunt. Like why are we not taking analytical practices to fire sprinkler systems? Because it's been done in the oil industry.
Oh yeah,
it's been done in a ton of industries.
It's everywhere else.
Like you have the arc flashing stuff.
Oh yeah, with the infrared scanning for electrical panels.
Yeah, so like there's been non-destructive technology for tons of practices in many industries. We are just now seeing it in the fire industry, and I think it's important that we look at analytical data to move innovation forward for managing facilities. And so,
if you've experienced corrosion, we have to land the plane here somewhere.
Yeah, we have to land it.
If you've experienced corrosion in your facility, you know how much of a headache, how much of a hassle it is, and how much potential loss just is exponential in growth. Because sure, maybe you got to replace that part of your system or your whole system, but also all the inventory underneath or any other facilities around it. Like the impact of the sprinkler system is far more dramatic than just the pipe itself.
So to summarize, man, a life cycle asset management program should be a health check for your systems to help you move forward in effective management of those systems. And so I want to thank you guys for tuning in again. This is SIC Sips with Peter and Sid, and we'll catch you next week
on the flip side.
Sweet. Cheers.
Bye guys.